money because Texas is massive. Okay? I've also done a lot of the things in Texas that they're like, is to do as far as travel goes. I think so traveling by car is honestly not that ideal, but I do live in a city where there are incredible, amazing things happening all the time. That's actually kind of a huge part of, the way Madison and I justify living in Austin is that we don't feel the need to leave all the time for entertainment or for, cool experiences. So, yeah, I think in 2025, I've just kind of sworn off taking flights because it adds up really quickly when you do that. Just the travel alone becomes really expensive. And so that's the way I plan on saving money in 2025, is focusing more on all the things we already talked about, with the value base, entertainment, but like my community here, and find joy and experiences through that. Also, this might seem minimal, but I am swearing off subscriptions in 2025, and prioritizing if I have to start one. As soon as I do the thing I need to do, I cancel the subscription, and usually you can still use whatever you already paid for, whatever the free trial is, but it won't renew. And so I'm not going to be getting any new subscriptions like that in 2025. I don't watch TV, so I don't need to be paying for Hulu, Netflix, whatever the other ones are. I watch it so rarely, and I usually utilize my sister's when I have to. I don't even think I have any, honestly, that I can think of. So no new ones. This is something I decide to implement when I realize what sales were happening at the end of the year. Why don't I take advantage of those sales when I need to? When I do my inventory of all the things that I buy, my hope is that then I will be able to see what I'm using on a regular basis, what I'm replacing on a regular basis. And then when those things go on sale, can stock up. I'm talking about things like my deodorant, had the biggest sale of the year in the last month or two. Even things that I buy on the regular for things like my chickens and my cat. All of those things were on sale. So why don't I utilize when they're on sale? I should. I plan on learning skills, like getting very serious about learning skills that I would otherwise pay for in the video. I linked it already up here. But in one of the videos I did this year, I went and got 2 pieces altered for myself. 2 denim. One was a skirt, one was a dress, and the cost was $111. So that's I guess actually learning how to use a sewing machine is my big goal. Because I can save a lot of money by just doing those things myself. Whether with the clothes I already have, or when I need to go and get something, I can alter it myself instead of spending. That was a lot of money, and I know it was really expensive for what it was. A lot of people told me that was, really expensive for the service that I got. And I respect. People need to earn a wage for what they're doing. But I know that if someone knows how to use a sewing machine, couldn't have taken more than 10 minutes to cut and sew that hem. And I simply can't afford to be doing that on any sort of regular basis. So I will be learning skills like sewing. The sewing machine is a big one for me, but also learning how to fix my bike. That's a huge thing there are great places in Austin that will teach you how to work on your bike. And so I plan on going to those classes more. A lot of them are free. And I also think that learning to make my own clothes, which is kind of the same as the sewing machine, but I need to learn, patterns and cutting and sourcing materials and all that kind of stuff. They're just things that I really want, and I really like, but they're usually made by designers or they're ethical brands, and they're so expensive, and learning how to do things myself would save me a lot of money. Speaking of my bike, I plan on taking my bike absolutely everywhere. Anything that's in my neighborhood, which is really anything that's within a 20-minute biking distance. I think I do that a lot during this time of year. Anyway, I kind of stop between June and September. There's nowhere I'm going that looking the way I will look after biking through 100-degree heat will be okay for. So this is already the time of year for me to be doing that. But sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm not really intentional about it. But because I can see how many miles I've put on my bike, they can see that I've already put 400 miles on my bike. It's such a one-to-one comparison. For me, the Prius gets 50 miles a gallon. I don't feel terrible when I have to drive it, but I can save even more money if I don't drive it, and I have the accessibility to do so. So I plan to do that in 2025, and taking advantage of all the free things that are happening in my city. Like I already said, there are a lot of free events, but there are also a lot of free services, and a lot of free things. If you go through your city's resource website, or even if you go through your library's website, you can get things like museum passes. You can go check out a museum pass from your library for free, and then you don't have to pay for the museums. We have seed libraries here, so I can go check my seed library, and before I am buying any sort of seeds that will save me money, there are tool lending libraries. There are community gardens that give away food. Sometimes there are free workshops and free classes that you can take so that you can learn some of the skills that we've talked about today. You can check out things like laptops if you need one. I mean, like, the options and things are endless. There are water safe. You can get, like, a box full of free water conservation tools from our city. Like, honestly, the options are endless, and we should be utilizing those things more. It helps support our communities, helps support where we live. It fosters that sense of community that I feel like everyone's looking for, and it can save us all money. So over the next month or so, before the end of January, give yourself, like, a few hours. Just peruse what you can get for free from your city, what events they host, classes, workshops, and take advantage of them. And in 2025, I plan on focusing a lot more on cost per use. I talk a lot about quality over quantity, and I do think I implement that into my life really well. But I don't track cost per use, like, in a very official way. And inventorying myself will have a lot to do with this. Like I said, inventorying my closet is the reason I feel like this is such a good idea, because I've been calculating cost per use since I've been using the app. And I'm really starting to see the things that I utilize the most and the things that would be worth spending my money on, right? I feel like prior to having this app, I thought spending a lot of money on maybe, like, a nice top or a nice dress made the most sense because those things are nicer when in reality maybe wear them once or twice a year. But I wear, like, the pants I'm wearing all, like, every other day. They have gotten a good jillion uses since I started tracking it. And it makes a lot more sense for me to actually put money into buying good quality of those items instead of spending a bunch of money on these things that I wear like once or twice a year. But I think tracking cost per use, not just in a passive way where you're like, oh, yeah, I use that thing all the time or whatever, you know, actually looking at it analytically, but looking at it in a very, like, definitive way can help us save a lot of money. And I look forward to learning that lesson in 2025, and hopefully you will join me on that mission to learn that lesson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. I don't see you around here for updates on this as I go along. And remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye guys.